I've been thinking about Stokely Carmichael at least since I was 10 years old. Stokely Carmichael, on June 16, 1966, after being released from a Greenwood jail, says that this is the last time he's going to be arrested, and what black people need to start saying is black power. And we think about black power as the civil rights movement's evil twin. We think about black power as a movement that wreaked havoc on Martin Luther King Jr.'s notion of a beloved community. We think about black power as being inhabited by gun-toting black militants. Instead of looking at civil rights and black power as separate and mutually exclusive, we should really think about civil rights and black power as having, being really different branches on the same family tree. Carmichael reveres Martin Luther King Jr., and that is at odds with his public image as a firebrand. Carmichael loves Martin Luther King Jr., and he says he loves King because King loves black people. And when we think about the March on Washington, that's a march for jobs and justice, but King's 17-minute speech is a revolutionary speech. And I'll say that again, it is a revolutionary speech where King talks about reparations, he talks about institutional racism, and he says to transform American democracy, we actually have to go to jail together. King's letter explains to Americans why black people and really the United States can't wait for citizenship and democracy. And King's letter really evokes one of his best lines when he says that the civil rights movement is about bringing the nation back to what he calls the great wells of democracy that were dug deep by the founding fathers. Shift that occurs in the 1960s, that's quite powerful and unprecedented. And when we think about it 40, 50 years later, we think everybody was on board with civil rights. But it was quite controversial, and certainly black power is even more controversial. Yeah. In the late 1960s, Carmichael's iconography actually surpasses Malcolm X. And that's mind-boggling. And the reason why his iconography surpasses Malcolm X, it's not just going to be the FBI investigations, the CIA investigations, the State Department, but Carmichael is going to turn black power into a global export. When we think about black power in the 60s and 70s, certainly it's the high point, just like there's a heroic period of the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s, but I won't say that that movement's completely gone. Obama is both enthralled by the speech, but he's also troubled and perplexed. And he writes that when Touré spoke at Columbia, his eyes glowed, he says. And he says, the eyes of a saint or a madman. So I think the best thing we can get out of Carmichael's life is, on one level, a personalized example of social political activism, but on another level, a more complete and complicated look at the way in which the civil rights movement and the black power movement actually unfolds, right? And the way in which there are certain figures that we put in one time period. So we put Stokely in black power, but by erasing him from the civil rights period where he is this honest-to-God organizer and this day-to-day person who does huge, important things, we actually transform the way in which we look at that movement. Thank you.